All right, hello out there from the Badger Rock Garden. Here we are for the next in our Rooted at Badger Rock Garden workshop series. And we are super excited today because it is garlic harvest time. And this garlic we planted in the garden in the fall. It's one of the only crops that you plant in the fall. All you have to do to plant garlic is get a clove of garlic, pop it in the ground pointy side up in the fall, and let it sit in the freezing ground all winter. If you don't let it sit in the freezing ground all winter, it won't make a full clove or a full bulb like this. So you want to definitely plant your garlic in the fall. If you do plant garlic in the spring, garlic will grow, but it'll be what you call green garlic. So it won't grow into a full bulb that you can then cure and store like you would a normal garlic. It would be something that you would pick and use fresh right away. So the garlic has a really long growing season. If you think about that, we've planted it in October, set in the ground all winter long, all spring, and now here it is mid-July, which is about when garlic here in Madison, Wisconsin is ready to harvest if you plant it at that time of year. And how do you tell when the garlic is ready to harvest? So you can see these little shriveled leaves at the bottom. When there are 2 to 3 leaves that are brown and dry closest to the clove, that is your sign that your garlic is probably ready to harvest. And you'll notice too at that time of year, often the tips of the green leaves are starting to get brown too. So we did a workshop a while back on garlic scapes, harvesting the flowers of the garlic. Once you harvest your scapes, it's usually about a month from that harvest until it's time to harvest your actual garlic. And the reason these leaves are getting dry and brown is the plant is stopping putting its energy into those leaves and starting to just focus on hunkering that energy down into the bulb. And that's why it's time to harvest the garlic when we get to that point. So there are a couple different types of garlic. There is soft neck garlic and there's hard neck garlic. Soft neck garlic is really a garlic that you would often, when you harvest it, it's really good at lasting for a long time if you cure it properly. And soft neck garlic is the kind that has really soft necks, so you can braid sometimes these stems together and hang your garlic in those pretty if you've ever seen braided garlic, that's definitely soft neck garlic. That's one way to cure and store your garlic. If you have hard neck garlic, the neck is hard, so you can't braid it in that same way. Hard neck garlic, the cloves are also often bigger. Soft neck garlic, the cloves are smaller, but they're more potent. So depending on what you're going for in your garlic, you can choose your varieties. You can buy garlic from the grocery store and just take cloves off and stick it in the ground. If you've ever had garlic that's been sitting in your drawer for a long time, you might notice it starts to sprout. That is how the garlic is growing underground when you plant it. It sprouts. So I'm going to show you how you can tell, another way you can tell if it's hard neck or soft neck garlic. So hard neck garlic has a hard stem coming up from between the cloves. So you can see they're pretty big cloves, and then there's this big hard neck right here. Soft neck garlic does not have this hard middle stem. And so you'll see it's more just cloves all clustered together in the whole bulb. When you harvest garlic, if you want to use it straight away, fresh, you can. It's ready to go. If you want to store it for any period of time, though, you have to cure it. So when you pick it, if you're going to cure it, do not take the dirt off the garlic. You want it to dry and cure. Curing is basically just drying. And once you let the garlic cure or dry, this paper on the outside, right now it's kind of moist and soft to the touch. That will become papery and tough, like the garlic you buy in the grocery store. And that papery, tough coating is what keeps the moisture from getting into your garlic, and it keeps it from rotting. And so what you want is for that garlic to just dry and that paper to get nice and tough before you ever start messing around with taking off the dirt. So harvesting the garlic is very easy. All you have to do is pull the garlic out of the ground. But if you tug and it doesn't come out easily, you can and should use a trowel or a shovel. But just be careful, because if you pierce the garlic bulb itself, you're making an opening for bacteria and fungus and that kind of stuff to get in there, and it won't cure as well. So I would just find a garlic here on the ground. I would look and see, are my first two leaves at least brown and dried up and dead? Yes, they are. And so then you can just pull, and especially if the ground's a little bit dry, it might be too tough to pull out just by hand, by tugging. If that's the case, make sure you put your shovel far enough away from the garlic that you're not going to pierce that clove, and then just gently pull it up. And this is a, when I say don't take the dirt off the garlic, you can take this dirt off. You just kind of knock that on your shovel a little bit. So there it is. Nice and still dirty, but without a giant 5-pound clod of dirt on the bottom. And once it's cured, you can cut the stem off, and you can cut the roots off, and you can store it. You can either hang it in a mesh bag. One thing I've seen that I kind of like, those old school pantyhose that you could buy in a little plastic egg in the drugstore? You can put a garlic clove in those pantyhose and tie a knot between each clove. And then when you're ready to use one, just get some scissors and snip off your piece of the pantyhose that has the garlic. You can braid it, like I mentioned, if you have soft neck garlic, which means braiding the necks together. And it is just so easy to grow, y'all, and it's really versatile. If you cure it well, some varieties of garlic can last for a whole year just on your shelf. Many of the varieties will last more like 3 to 4 months, but some varieties will last a long time. So let me show y'all how we cure it. We'll head on into our greenhouse. So one thing when you're curing garlic you want to avoid is direct sun. Direct sun will make the garlic, the taste start going off. So you want to put it in like dappled shade or partially shaded area. A garage will work well, a shed will work well. We're going to go put it in the greenhouse. And you want to also make sure you have plenty of ventilation, so airflow around the garlic. So I would put it on like either a mesh shelf, or one really easy thing you can use is a screen from a window. Just put a screen, prop it up on some sawhorses or bricks, and just put your garlic on the screen so it's getting airflow from below, from above, so that it can really just cure happily. The other thing you want to make sure is that the garlic cloves are not touching each other when you cure them. That little spot where they rub can be a spot where moisture collects and they can get bacteria and fungal growth. So you just want to offset them a little bit so that they're not touching each other, the cloves. Come on in, I'll show you our setup. So we have this nice shaded shelf right here that's perfect because it's got the shelving itself allows for ventilation from below and from above, and we can just put the garlic in here, stagger it as long as it's not touching, the bulbs aren't touching each other. It should be fine. And curing garlic can take anywhere from about 2 weeks to about 4 weeks, depending on how humid it is outside and depending on your setup, and also depending on the type of garlic. And the way that you know that it is cured and ready to go, all these leaves will have no green left in them. They'll be completely dried out and brown. That garlic bulb will have sucked all the moisture into itself, and you will just be left with dry roots and dry stems. And that's when you know you're ready to chop off the tops, chop off some of the roots, and store them in some kind of way. When you store them, do not store them in an airtight or like a moisture condensing kind of situation. A plastic bag is not your friend for storing cured garlic. You could use a paper bag because air can still get through there. You could use a mesh bag. You could hang it. You can put it in a basket, but avoid the plastic bags. Avoid the kind of closed airtight containers because the moisture will make your garlic not last as long, basically. So yeah, that is how easy it is, y'all. Very easy, very fun, very easy to grow. It's one of the first crops to start popping up in the spring. It always means spring is coming. You see your garlic popping up, it's like, woo, spring is coming. And then midsummer, you know when it's time to harvest your garlic that the summer is moving along. We are going to meet you all in the kitchen in a minute to show you how to make your own garlic powder from your homegrown garlic. All right, here we are in the Badger Rock kitchen for the next piece of this workshop. We've learned to harvest and cure garlic, and now we're going to learn how to process garlic if you want to make your own garlic powder. Demystifying garlic powder, you all, it is so easy to make. You never need to buy it again if you learn to make your own. So I should say too, we were talking about the difference between soft neck and hard neck garlic. Soft neck garlic prefers milder winters, so it's harder to grow in a climate like the Midwest. The cloves are smaller and more, a little less pungent, and so soft neck garlic is often what you find in grocery stores because it also tends to last a little longer when it's cured. Hard neck garlic is the kind that is best for growing if temperatures where you live go below 0 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter, which if you live in Wisconsin, you know usually that is the case. So hard neck garlic tends to do better in this climate. But what you find in the grocery store will usually be soft neck garlic. Both of these types of garlic you can use the same for making your garlic powder. So basically what you do, oh my gosh, y'all, it's so simple. All you have to do is take that little covering off the garlic. If you have not processed garlic before, I just cut the root off. You can give the top a little crush to get that skin off of there. And then you are simply going to make slices of garlic and put it in a dehydrator. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can also make this in the oven. Just put it on the lowest heat possible and keep the door slightly open when you're cooking it so that it doesn't burn and so that it dries out at the right temperature. So basically what you're going to do is make slices of garlic. The thinner the slices, the less time it's going to take to dehydrate them. You can see all this moisture in this garlic, this delicious, tasty, lovely, garlicky moisture in here. We are just going to get these sliced up, and if you have a dehydrator, you can put it on the shelves in the dehydrator. If you're using an oven, you can put it just on a cookie sheet, but we have a dehydrator here, so I'm going to show you that method. So you simply take your cloves, your slices of cloves, and you lay them out. You want to put them in a single layer. You don't want to be putting garlic pieces on top of each other because they won't dry out as quickly. And so you're just going to add these in here. And once you get them in, you are going to turn your dehydrator to about 105 degrees Fahrenheit. If you have a dehydrator that has settings based on the kind of food, like this one, 105 degrees is nuts and seeds. That's the setting you're going to put it on for nuts and seeds. And you want to turn it on for 8 to 10 hours. So this is a long process. You can put this in overnight though. Just turn your dehydrator on at night, plug it in, turn it on, and when you come back in the morning, after you put it on 105, set it for 8 to 10 hours, wake up in the morning, open up your dehydrator. The way you can tell if they are dry enough is you can pick up a piece of the garlic, and if you bend it, it will snap. That means enough water has been pulled out of that it is going to be good to go. And what I do to make it into garlic powder is I have a coffee grinder that I use just for herbs and spices, and I put that dried garlic inside my coffee grinder, grind it up, put it in a little container. There you go, garlic powder. And sometimes the garlic powder, even when you buy it in the store, you'll notice sometimes it gets caked in a jar because it starts pulling in moisture from the air. You can avoid that by putting a little bit of white rice inside your garlic powder jar. You can even put it in a little piece of cheesecloth so it doesn't get mixed in with your garlic powder. And that white rice will just pull any moisture out of your garlic powder that would normally be making it caked like that. And it'll stay loosey-goosey and good to use for all your recipes. So simple. So simple, so good. That's a way to have your garlic usable year-round for you. And when I harvest garlic too, I always save aside the best cloves and to plant again the next fall. And to plant it, all you have to do is once those are cured and those cloves are looking beautiful, you're just going to take your clove, put it flat side down, pointy side up in the ground, about 4 to 6 inches apart. That's about from your thumb to your pinky. You're just going to stick it in the ground, boop, 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 all the way down a bed, put some straw on top, keep the weeds from taking over, and that is it. And you can just keep your garlic going. Once you start a garlic bed, you never have to buy seed garlic again, which if you buy seed garlic, that is garlic that's certified not to have any diseases or anything going on, so you can safely plant that and grow your own garlic. But if you grow your garlic, you are growing your own seed garlic for the next season as well. So that's it, y'all. If you grew garlic, happy harvesting. If you didn't, try it this fall. We'll do another workshop closer to garlic planting time to show you all how that's done. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the show, and we will see you all next time.